Well, check. Yes, we are live. Let me straighten my camera here for you folks. Guess that's better. I don't know. Anyhow, sorry for the bobble in here. Just want to get it looking good. Hey guys, welcome to Coffee and Kalashnikovs, August 1st, 2023. Holy cow, amazing. July is gone, done. And we are into August, the dog days, so to speak. And I was kind of thinking about that. Usually I would have been shooting all summer long. My usual stuff, I don't know, collecting brass and maybe doing some reloading. But this time of year, I'm usually collecting my brass, cleaning it, getting it all set for winter, right? So I got something to do over the winter and keeps me busy. And I did it all last winter. And I don't even know how many thousands of rounds I loaded, but I was for sure ready to go this year. Not thinking that I would basically do zero shooting. That's pretty much what it's come down to. And I keep saying, well, this is the week that we're going to go out and get on the new property and get some shooting time in, kind of explore the property, figure out where the range or ranges are going to go and all that good stuff. And here I sit. Just have not been able to get out there, and the way the build process is going, we put off the driveway right now for basically savings in money. So the same person that'll do the driveway will do the excavating for the foundation, and that kind of put us back a little bit. But it's getting close. I don't know why I look so blurry here. Oh, there we go. It finally focused. I don't know why it was so out of whack there. But anyhow, and there it goes again. What is going on? It's always something, isn't it? Can't win lately. I don't know. There, let's see if it'll focus again. Who's in here? Joe is here, of course. Good to see you, Joe. I need some glasses so I can see something. Ross is in here. Good to see you, Ross. Boy, pretty soon it'll be that time of year for a 2A EDU get-together, won't it? Pretty quick here. DJ Miggs, hi guys, picked up an Uzi pistol chambered in 22, local pawn shop find. It needed good cleaning inside. Otherwise, I'm excited to test it out. Funny you say that. So I was just nosing around on one of the auction sites, just seeing what things were going for, kind of thinking, well, maybe could throw a few things up and get something new, that type of thing. And an Uzi came up, and it was a 22. Frankly, I didn't know they made them in 22. If that was one of the newer renditions, or if that was something back when all the pre-bands were coming in, or what the deal was. But yeah, I didn't know they made them in 22. That would be pretty neat and inexpensive to shoot. Sorry, just trying to get rid of notifications, but I have no idea how to do that. So I guess, yeah, I'm on it.
And then click hide alerts.
Hold on, where's that at?
Click the top.
Yeah, there's not. Really?
Click the
Let's
top.
just say that a few more times.
Right there. Click the top there.
Where?
The top. Right here. Right there. Click.
I'm technologically challenged, guys. I'm sorry.
Just click the top and go hide alerts.
All right, there we go.
There you go.
Ignorant family texting. Yes, that's what it is. They have group texts about everything. Camera clear. running late. I can't stand when this happens. And it's still not doing it. I don't know why it's not focused. Unless there's something on the lens here. You got something I can wipe this lens off with? Anyhow, so 22 Uzis. Well, I thought, wow, that's kind of cool. You could go out and blast away. It's one of those things where you go, fun toy, but how useful is it, you know? Hold on, guys. I'm going to wipe this lens. I'm really sorry about this. Hopefully. There we go. Look at that, would you? Amazing. All good. There was one little speck of dust on there, and it was throwing it all off. So, yeah, 22 Uzi. I don't know. I mean, any Uzi's cool. Don't get me wrong, and I am not dissing your gun. For all I know, they're super rare and worth a lot of money. But, 9 isn't all that bad. I guess if I had a 9 already and that kind of thing and it was something different, sure, why not? Because when you go to the range, you can afford to plink all day. And it's funny, the reason I'm late is I had to run over to Wally World to get a couple things. And on the way back, I'm listening to Iraq Veteran, and they were talking about ammo. And I'm not sure if this was an older one or a newer one, but he was talking about earlier times, not necessarily pandemic, but the shortage before that, where 22 was just nowhere to be found. Couldn't find it anywhere. People were waiting in lines at Walmart, that type of thing. And he was talking about now, is a good time to stock up on it. And I got to thinking about ammo prices and what they're doing now and what everybody's seeing around. I've seen, frankly, prices on 9 that's down there. It's not bad at all. I mean, it's not pre-pandemic pricing, but it's not crazy. I'm seeing as low as $13.99 for a box of 50, whatever it happens to be, Federal or Winchester white box, that type of thing. And that's really not that bad. And there seems to be a lot of 22 around, a lot of mini mags and good 22, not the junk that you sometimes see, like, I don't know, the Remington Golden, whatever. That stuff's so filthy dirty. I've been kind of, the minimum I'll buy are like Stingers or Varmageddon. That's some good stuff. That Aguila, I really like that stuff. The 38 grain and the 40 grain. Frankly, that's all my Glock, my 22 Glock will run on. That Glock is picky. The reason I bought it was I thought, well, if you're going to do a Glock pistol, or a 22 pistol, might as well do a Glock, right? Glocks always run. Not the case with the 22, or model number, I guess, is 44, right? Anyhow, I started running that stuff, and it ran great in there. Then a buddy of mine had another temperamental rifle, and he tried some of it, and it ran great in there. It's fairly clean, pretty accurate. It runs in my 1022, and I've run it in the lever action, and really, really good stuff. There's also a new round out called Punch, which is a solid. And I've seen a lot of testing lately between the Veloster, and some are testing it against the Stinger and all that. They both work really well, but a little bit differently. Where the Stinger, the Veloster, those are hollow points. They expand, and that Punch just stays solid. But there's some interesting results out there when you fire them out of a pistol versus a rifle. And you would think that the rifle would do much better. In some cases it does, but with that Punch, it sure seems like the round holds together and just flattens out. It looks like somebody put it in a vise and scrunched it. And it's certainly expending all its energy in there. I watched one, I can't remember what it was. One went all the way through and like 6 inches into another gel block. So quite impressive stuff. And, you know, the first thought in my mind was, well, does this, you know, almost create an argument where, hey, 22 could be a personal defense round? Could it? Would you conceal carry a 22 pistol or a 22 revolver? I've done it on occasion, once or twice, just kind of for kicks, if nothing else. But I don't know that first of all, it wouldn't become my EDC ever. But interesting thought. You know, you're approaching speeds of 1,600 feet per second advertised, and out of the pistol, obviously, it's not getting to those, but yeah, that's a lot of energy. I mean, you think about it, 38 grain, 40 grain bullet at those kind of speeds, or even, you know, in that 1,200, 1,300 range. It's pumping out pretty good. I certainly wouldn't want to be the test subject, that's for sure. You know, the old joke where somebody's at the range and somebody walks up and says, "Oh, I wouldn't, that 22 can't hurt anything," you know? And the guy says, "Really? Why don't you take a little jog out there? Let me know how it works out for you." But yeah. Or you hear more people have been in the world have been victims of contract killings from 22 than any other caliber. Well, I don't know how true that is, you know. Obviously, maybe in certain situations, you know, gangland style stuff of yesteryear, mafiosa kind of stuff, you'd hear that, but I don't know. I just know that there's better options out there, but some, you know, things develop, technologies develop, powders get better, all those things. And who knows, you know, that old adage or that old comparison of 9 versus 40. Sure, no problem. Here you go. That old argument of 9 versus 40, or, you know, 9, yeah, 40 used to be, there was probably an argument that 40 had better knockdown power, however you want to put it. But look at the 9 today, you know, it's definitely there. And certainly a hot 9 that still has manageable recoil. I remember the day I sold my 40 and I had taken it to the range the week before. And until I seriously was, you know, shooting both side by side, I didn't realize how much recoil I was dealing with on the 40. Now, certainly makes you a better shooter with the 9, that's for sure. You go to that, it felt like a toy, you know. But you get good self-defense rounds, and yeah, I don't even know if that argument exists anymore. So just curious, you know, anybody carry a smaller caliber? Used to be really, really popular. People carry 25 caliber, 32. You know, even people talk about 380. Well, is 380 even more viable now? Because some of those rounds, the way they're moving out, I don't know that I'd feel all that outgunned with the right pistol and the right round in a 380. And frankly, in the summer when it's hot, you're wearing shorts or cargo pants or something, it's kind of nice once in a while to carry a lighter, smaller pistol like that. You know, it's hot. And if you're going somewhere where you're carrying a lot of stuff, it's nice to cut that weight and cut that size. The only reason I quit carrying a 380 in the summer was when I went to the range, took my girls to shoot, and handed them the 380, and click, 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 the firing pin had broken in my Smith & Wesson. Now, that's a one-off, but, you know, Nothing a couple dollars in 5 minutes couldn't fix, but sure wouldn't fix it if you needed it that second. And I had carried that gun where I'm sure that thing would have just went click. And that's one of the scariest thoughts I could ever have, where you're in that situation, the heat of the moment, and you need it, and click, and the other guy just laughs, right? And proceeds to do what he was about to do to you. Not fun, that's for sure. Give me 1 sec. There we go. So let's see who else joined in. We had a little weird start to things there. I was a couple minutes late. I apologize. I'm usually on time, even if I'm out of breath, but I always make it. DJ makes heavy little sucker. Yeah, I would think, it really putting it in a 22, and I got to think it's older because I don't remember them offering a 22 Uzi any in the recent history here, but I would think back when they were producing them, there weren't the polymers and things, so probably put together pretty much like the 9 or anything else, So yeah, I bet there's some weight to it, I got in a recent purchase of it was a package I got through a guy where I got a bunch of pre-bands, okay? And in order to get the pre-bands, I had to take these other 2 less desirable firearms. And one was an AK-47 in 22. And it really wasn't an AK. It was like any other semi-automatic 22 firearm, just with enough plastic and pop metal put on the outside to make it look like an AK. The magazine even was some other type of semi-automatic mag clamped into what looked like an AK mag, right? But I was still shocked at it. This was an earlier gun, so similar probably to the 22 Uzi you're talking about. It had a walnut stock, and I mean a quality walnut stock. Now, back then in the 80s or 70s, probably wasn't considered a quality walnut stock, but by today's standards, pretty nice stock. The barrel was heavy. I mean, when you picked it up, it was as heavy as any other AK platform, maybe other than a Vepr and stuff. So there's some quality in those at least, and they feel a little more legit, if you know what I mean. I was going to get rid of those, and one a 22 version of a PPSH with the 50 round drum and all. I should have done a video for the channel, and I didn't. That sold pretty quickly, actually, to an FFL bought that from me. And I should have kept that one, but at the time needed the money. But that Kalashnikov copy, it's like anything else. It's neat. It represents, and then it kind of, okay, it's a range toy, whatever. But somebody's going to have fun with it. I still have it. I don't know. Not sure what we're going to do with it. But I certainly would love to get out to my property and start bringing you some videos on these things. We've got videos we can put out on that original Uzi, and you saw a little bit I've done on it, but I want to do a complete video where we've got several hundred rounds under our belt through it. And some people thought, oh my God, it's a shame he's got an unfired pre-ban Uzi in the box and he's going to shoot it. Yeah, I mean, why not? Am I ever going to realize any extra money that may be there because it's unfired and in the box? I'm not going to sell it. So maybe my kids, my grandkids, whoever, maybe they would. But what's the point if you can't shoot it and have fun? We've got the Daewoo, and I had never so much as held one or shot one, but quite a nice piece of equipment. If you've ever looked at them, they're like a hybrid AR. Take AR mags, very similar in some of the controls and all. Heavy parkerized finish. nice rifle. Interesting way the stock folds and everything. Just a nice rifle. And then what else did we get? Oh, Hungarian AK. That we got to bring you some more videos on. What a beautiful, beautiful gun. If you go back in time a little bit, Wasser 1063s and Wasser 10s early on, even some of the Yugo stuff that was around, obviously kit guns back then, but even some OPAPs, NPAPs, several different variants of AKs. This Hungarian from fit and finish is just absolutely beautiful. The bluing is really pretty, even, and not too high polished, but really well done. From the rivets to the bluing to the wood, just gorgeous. And it's one of those that if you want a classically styled AK in wood, man, that's a great way to go, because the wood's pretty, the rifle's pretty, and be ashamed to tack out something like that. Let's talk about something else with AKs that's crossed my mind. I got a lot of thinking I've been doing here of what I need to do and what I want to bring on the channel, and a couple firearms we need to grab. But I've got a couple AKs that I've personalized to my style, my body, my fit, my type of shooting. Maybe even, something more, a little CQB, and then something set up to reach out a little further. But I've been thinking about putting together another tactical AK or modifying one, because so many I leave alone just because of what they're worth now. Back when Vepers were still around and all, they were a good chunk of change, and we knew they were going to be a little bit collectible. So I wanted one gun that could be my everyday range gun, and that ended up being an NPAP that I picked up real cheap. And I thought, well, yeah, it's not the 1.5 receiver, but never had a problem with them. I think back right around then is when Rob Ski had a receiver crack on one of them. And I thought, oh, well, if it does, it does. And that's about the time we changed to ALG spring in all of our earlier Yugo guns. Anyways, that gun has served me really, really well. We run it with a 3-power holographic primary arm sight on it, muzzle brake, some other things, stock and grip and this and that, and great rifle. And then of course we've got our Krebs that we kind of did an alpha thing on and went with a low power variable optic. And I was thinking about that gun and how much I love it, but how heavy it is. When you put all that Zenitco stuff on there and then the LPVO, it just gets heavy. And frankly, that's what keeps me from shooting that Krebs gun more, is it's just heavy. And really heavy, frankly. But, so is an AR when you put an LPVO on and all the other stuff. But obviously this is a little heavier. Great rifle, and I think in a perfect world, I'd take it back down, go with a TDI Arms handguard on it, and go back to the factory folding stock. It's based on an Arsenal 107 FR, and run it either with a red dot or a Krebs peep sight, maybe something like that. So I thought, well, if I was going to do that, and I wanted something just more in between those two, but running an LPVO, what would I do to cut weight and what would I build it off of? And I've been kicking that around a bit and looking at values and, wanting to take something that is a nice rifle, but that I'm not diminishing the value incredibly. And then what came to mind was too, maybe some of this, the export ban on the Zastavas. I thought, well, maybe it's going to start hurting that. And maybe we should grab a Z-PAP, another Z-PAP, or maybe an M90, something like that, and go that route. So I was nosing around, and you know what? There's still tons and tons and tons of Zastava stuff out there. So at least for now, it doesn't seem like the hordes have come in and started to grab all that up. There's a bunch of it out there. I did manage to win an auction. I got a Z-PAP for under $500, brand new in the box. And you say, well, Rock, how did you manage that one? Well, it was simple. They had it mislabeled. I don't know how the hell they did it. They labeled it as an NPAP. And I looked at the pictures close, and sure enough, it was a Z-PAP. And I asked him a question. I said, so this is the gun in the pictures there? And all? Yep, that's it. Okay. Nobody bid on it. Nobody bid on it. And yeah, so we got that going on. Yeah, my buddy over, Breezy over at El Tenda's channel built the most beautiful Z-PAP I've seen in a long time. I'm thinking about going that route. And it involves a lot of, a Krebs handguard. You can get a nice one of his handguards, even the longer one, and they are a ton less weight than the Zenitco stuff. At least as strong, if not stronger, and a few other items. So I'm kicking that around. I don't know. I don't know if I want to do anything shorter. And then I also was kicking around maybe an Ace. I'd really like to find a Gen 1, but even maybe a Gen 2 Ace, and I'd like to get it 16-inch. Perfect would be 14 and then pin and weld, but I don't know. We'll see. I've been kicking that around too. What do you guys think of that? There's 100 ways to go, but I really want this thing to perform as well as my Krebs rifle and all, with a heavier optic on it and just not have that weight to it. So that's going to be kind of the goal, and we're going to be, I guess we'll put together a few and we'll see what happens. I don't know. See what we come up with, but that should be pretty interesting. In the meantime, man, that Hungarian is such a nice rifle. It'll be fun to see that gun get 1,000 rounds under its belt and really smooth out and see how well that thing runs. It just seems like a fabulous rifle. And that was one of the ones brought in, I think it was Kaznar was the importer. The good one, the one you want, And I think those Hungarian guns get underbilled, or you don't hear much about them because, they were pre-bans, and even later on, there just haven't been a ton of Hungarian guns come in. I do remember a time when there were some Hungarian guns around, underfolders, with the blonder wood, and I think a lot of people mistook them they'd see them up on a wall or the rack or something, and they mistook them for a Wasser or something along those lines. I know one day I almost passed one over. I'm looking at Wasser, and I'm like, wait a minute. Wow, that's a Hungarian gun. And I can't remember who was bringing them in, if it was Century at the time. But nothing ever came of it. Nobody, you didn't see any popularity, maybe because they were in smaller numbers. And while I looked a little bit at some of the values, I didn't see too many of those even to kind of put an opinion together. But that being said, I think if there were more of those out there, or maybe if people just pulled them out of the back of their safe, and actually took them to the range, spent a little time, they'd see what great rifles those are. Then again, you if you have one of those rifles, you start looking at the values and you go, huh, they're up there too. It's changed the game in the AK world. You look at these rifles that a lot of us that have been in it for a while didn't think twice about. And now you pull one out of the safe and you go, oh, do I want to take this SGL to the range and run 1,000 rounds through it? You know, it makes you think twice. And where before, you never thought anything about it. You know, you might bang it around on the tailgate a little or whatever. And it's changed the whole outlook on it. Maybe the way to go is just build a rifle from a Polish kit or something, you know. All that Polish hardware is fabulous stuff. Krebs builds most of his stuff on Polish parts now and his parts. And fabulous guns. Maybe I should do that. I don't know. And that way, I still think I'd have to go the SBR route, though, for what I'm looking to do. At the end of the day, the shorter barrels are more accurate, for sure. No debate about that. You know, if you could get in that 13.5 range or so, maybe 14, 12.5 even, somewhere in there, it's a more accurate gun than a 16-inch gun. It is. A lot of people don't believe it or don't understand it. But anybody that builds them or knows them well, Mark Krebs, for instance, he'll tell you shorter guns are more accurate. They just are. It's got a lot to do with the barrel harmonics and the gas tube and, pushing on sight blocks and gas blocks and all that other stuff. The shorter guns are just more accurate. Not to say that the 16-inch or like a M90 with a 17-inch barrel isn't accurate. There's some extremely accurate rifles out there, but in general, if you go to a shorter barrel length, they're more accurate. So I don't know. A lot of things up in the air. I mean, that's strange for me. You might think, well, what does he care about building that or doing that? He's got this, he's got that. He can go take any AK he wants. And yeah, but even so, if you're looking to fill a certain niche, you want to fill that niche with the right rifle. And while some of them in factory form or even slightly modified form fit the bill, they might just not fit it perfectly. I guess I'm kind of grasping out, trying to just find a fit for something that's more portable, something that can be thrown in the truck or in the backpack or what have you. I was thinking along the lines, maybe SBR and a Draco, a full-size Draco. That right there might be damn close to the perfect size. So I don't know. And then I was kicking around 7.62 or 223. I'm really seriously considering the 223. I don't know. Like to have one in both, but can't have everything. So we'll see. I don't know. They came out with that Wasser in 223. The Wasser 3 is back. But the problem with that is really you're stuck with their mag, the mags that come with it, the Kruger mags. There's nothing else that really fits it. I think there was one mag that may have fit it, but everything else was not fitting. And that's per Michiko. He did a video with testing everything from Arsenal mags to Galil mags, and that was the drawback he saw. And the problem is he doesn't see a source for a bunch of those mags coming in. That was one nice move I did with the Sam 5 was when I got that rifle, I ordered a ton of mags along with it. And those are some great mags. I wish those fit, those Arsenal mags. They're great mags. Or even the Polish mags would be great, but nothing fit. So that was a problem. Because that'd be a great gun, right? What happened to the days of Rob recommending the Mighty Wasser and everybody jumping on the bandwagon and just making a gun that fit them and all kinds of fun stuff and being cheap enough to not worry about it and just make it yours. Kind of how I'm feeling these days. I just want something like that. Maybe I will do a Wasser. I don't know. And they make the, what's the other one they make with the longer gas tube? Is an RH10 or something like that. Maybe you got to cut it down a little bit. I don't know. Maybe something along those lines. An AKM pattern, but just kind of in that even gas tube, even barrel thing, you know. It's kind of what I'm thinking size-wise. And then find a decent LPVO that shaves some weight. And that might be an oxymoron, a lightweight LPVO. I don't know. At least one that's affordable. So, but that's the direction I'm thinking. I really am interested to see how well this Daewoo shoots. And that's a viable package. It's a little bit heavier, but man, it sure is interesting. It's not a gun that everybody's going to grab and have one, and certainly not one that anybody's going to consider their main grab and go rifle. It's just there's not enough of them out there, and again, values and all of that come into play. I like what's going on in the gun world right now with pricing, not just with AKs, but with everything. The values, how much new guns are, how much guns in the secondary market are, has changed the whole outlook on collecting, shooting, go-to rifles, all of that. The prices have just went up so much that it makes you rethink. And something that comes into play, Iraq Veteran did a video too, talking about the values. And the video is basically, is there a top to that market? Will these guns just keep going up and up and up? Or is there a point where it levels off, stays there, or possibly even goes backwards? Who knows? Technically, if you think about it, let's say a rare rifle, I don't know. Back when they were coming in, nobody thought they'd be rare, but let's say an SGL 21 or an SGL 31. Will those guns just keep going up? Because technically, they're not coming in anymore. They won't come in anymore. I mean, Russia's done. I don't, in our lifetime, see that happening again. So there's a static amount of rifles that are here, right? But that number is constantly dwindling, right? Some are, I doubt it, but some are shot out. Some are lost in fires, stolen, chopped up by idiots, who knows, confiscated and crushed, what have you. But it's constantly dwindling amount. Now, I'm not talking massive numbers, but every year goes by, you're going to lose some, right? Does that rifle keep going up? I mean, it started out whatever they were back then, 600, 800, 900, I don't know, probably even not that high. And then you saw them go to 1,500, 2,000, 2,500, 3,500 now for a nice one in the box. Will that keep going up, or does it work like cars, where once the age group that had those rifles originally gets to a certain age, they have more money, expendable money, and maybe they buy what they couldn't when they were younger and they have it now. But once that age group's done, they weren't around when the stuff came in to know how neat they were. Maybe the popularity falls off. maybe the next generation coming around says, nah, who wants that junk? I don't know. What's your thoughts? I know I see it in the car market for years and years and years. My car growing up was a Trans Am. I had many of them. I do what I do today for a living because of I made it my life's work. But you could pick up a 70s or even a 60s FIREARMS, 80s for dirt, not a lot of money. And you could restore it and all of that, or maybe you found a mint one and they were affordable. Well, now a car, the last Trans Am I owned, a 70 and a half Trans Am. Now I stole it when I got it. I got it dirt cheap. You won't even believe me if I tell you, but it was a 16,000 mile original car, original paint, interior, everything. Needed a front middle piece of the spoiler and a console repair. And I think I got it for $2,500. It was immediately worth almost 10 grand. But I think I sold it for, I don't know, 20 or something. But today, that same car, period, is over 100,000 or in that area, 100 grand for a nice one. Will that same car be worth 100 grand to the next generation? I don't know. It's like saying, well, what's a 1930s whatever worth, or a 40s Buick? Once that age that own those or remembers family members having them is in their 50s or 60s when they can buy them, they have extra money, it's worth that. But then when they're gone, is it worth that to the next generation, or does it stop and or start dropping? I don't know. I guess at some point they're just antique, but I don't know. It's like the cowboy guns, and some of the lever actions. We're seeing that market drop. Who knows? Then there's the new guns. Look at what they're getting for some of this stuff. Now some stuff stayed relatively close. A gun that I kind of look at quite a bit over the last year or two, simply because it was a spur of the moment purchase and really don't need it, really don't want it. I wouldn't bother me if a truck ran it over. Not that it's not a bad gun or not a good gun. The Ruger Charger pistol takedown to be a braced pistol, and it takes mags or Ruger mags, but the spur of the moment, they got me with the removable barrel and all that. And I kind of keep track of it because I don't want to lose money on it. I don't expect to make money, but I don't want to lose money on it, kind of thing. And so I compare it to what I bought it for. I didn't get it on sale or anything like that. It was just normal big box store price. And I want to say it was like, I don't know, $550 or $650 or something like that. And those have went up very little in the grand scheme of things. But you look at others and they've just went through the roof, as far as cost goes. You see 10, 20, 30% increases in a very short period of time. And I think that changes a lot of things from, that entry-level barrier for new people coming into the sport. The way you look at guns that were maybe commonplace or not thought much of before, and now they're becoming more collectible, not just because of the price increases, but other things as well. Has it changed your guys' thought process as far as maybe what you're going to buy, what you're going to hang on to? Maybe you won't shoot something as much anymore. Maybe it'll kind of, keep the round count down on that one. Or did you maybe, are you maybe seeing the prices up there and saying, hey, it's now or never, I'll grab some and bite the bullet and hang on, and hopefully they keep going? Tell me in the comments here what you guys are thinking, or if it's changed your habits at all, whether it's shooting, purchasing, collecting, etc. I'd be interested to know. And that being said, let's go back to the comments here and see what you guys are saying. Hopefully you guys have gotten out and gotten to do some shooting and have a little fun this summer, although most of the country, this heat has been so oppressive, it's just been ridiculous. Excuse me there, but just wet my whistle a little with my favorite here. But let's go to comments and see what's going on. You guys got a lot in here. Let's see. And DJ Miggs, I wasn't, please don't take it that I was harping on your 22 Uzi. Uzis are cool, period. I think if there was any gun in my collection that I would SBR, it would probably be an Uzi. Why? Because I don't have to, number one, think about this. It's a great candidate. You don't have to ruin its originality to do it, because the barrel, you simply unscrew the barrel nut and change the barrel out. All you got to do is get the shorter barrel. But before you do that, you got to do your tax stamp and be legal and all. But you could go back and forth. It doesn't change anything about the gun. You're not cutting a barrel down, nothing like that. And you're not dealing with maybe a braced pistol that you're turning. You already got the stock there, all of that stuff. So neat. And frankly, that gun being so iconic as it is, when you put that, it looks great sitting in the box or on display with that display barrel in it. And the minute you put that 16-inch barrel in there, it's like, wah, wah, wah. It just looks like absolute garbage. You're like, oh, it's so cool, but it does shoot nice though, and it's accurate. And even with that big bolt rocking back and forth, it's easy to shoot, easy to keep on target. So simple and so beefy. They just feel like they never wear out. I don't know. I don't know that I've ever heard anybody say, oh, I wore out my Uzi. I don't know. Back in the day when my dad and his friends were shooting them, I don't think anybody could have. I don't know. I don't really remember. A couple of guys that were SOTs were running full auto ones, and I don't even remember them having problems, but who knows? Just seems like a perfect gun to SBR. If you were going to do one, you do that. I don't own any SBRs, never have, and simply because I didn't want to go through the hassle. I didn't want to do the paperwork. Yeah, the money comes into play too, but not so much. But it was always that thought of waiting and the background checks and just more hassle and on another list. I don't think that matters much anymore. I think the lists are all inclusive and immense. So what does it matter? But I don't know. Just never did one. And I still kind of think, I'll wait till it all falls. I'm one of those guys that's hoping that the NFA just goes away one of these days. And, for a lot of years, people said, well, you'll be waiting to, there'll be ice skating on the river Styx before that happens. But I don't know. We may see something. Who knows? There are a lot of these court cases that are coming down that are illustrious powers that be have brought some of these suits, and we've seen some of them backfire on them, but I think they do backfire on them and are backfiring on them. So all it takes is one case to get there that turns the whole thing around. So, and there's a lot of interesting things going on. Even there's some cases that you might not even think are relevant, but are. And when I say you might not think they're relevant, I'm not saying that it's some complicated thing. It's just, if you are not constantly watching these situations evolve with these different lawsuits, you may think it's something totally irrelevant to our situation. But there's a couple out there that are very interesting right now. And really it has to do with an Exxon case that if some of you watch 2A EDU, you'll know he talks about that old case and what it brought about. And there's a couple that are at least one going on right now that I think will or might have some serious implications as far as on how the Supreme Court rules, and it may affect our world immensely in a good way. So we'll see. Good to see you got it at a pawn shop there, DJ, too. It's always fun to go into a pawn shop because you never know what you're going to see. I've had some good luck in, I don't know, Tennessee, Kentucky, Florida. Anytime I walk into a pawn shop, it seems like it's just junk. I don't know. Florida's a weird state, man. There's such beautiful places, and then there's just I don't know, the bottom of the barrel, and maybe it's just the pawn shops I go to down there. Or maybe it's a big firearm state and a lot of good stuff gets snapped up. Whatever it is, I never see anything good. It's all junky, crappy stuff. Never run into anything good at a pawn shop down there. There was a good pawn shop here in Wisconsin that I used to go to. They're out of business, unfortunately. I can't remember what happened. I think the owner died. Tragically, a young guy died unexpectedly, and the family members couldn't transfer the FFL or something, because I think the kid originally got the FFL because dad ended up doing a whoopsie and couldn't have an FFL anymore. So when the kid died, I don't think anybody else in the family was legit enough to take it on, but I don't know. That was the only good one I ever came across. I love hearing pawn shop stories, so if you got a good one, throw it in there. It's always great to hear about somebody walking in and there's a holy grail for their collection laying there or something. But yeah, let's see. Need a good cleaning. Yeah, I can imagine. Any 22, right? What was it I took apart the other day and I couldn't believe how dirty. 22 revolver. Oh my God. Hadn't shot it in years and years and years. And I pulled it out and I went, oh my God, I can't believe I left this like that. But oh well. Yep, it's me with my phone too. Yeah, I usually don't look that ignorant with technology, but for whatever reason, I don't know those little secrets, They start texting. If you got 5 people in a text and they're doing a family text and it's bing, bing, ba, bing, bing, ba, bing, 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 because there's 5 people going at it at work. I'm like, oh my God, I just want to throw the thing. So I don't know. I don't do Wally World at all. I don't either. I stay away almost exclusively, but it's the only thing, only place for me right now to get groceries without traveling another 15, 20 miles. And it's already quite a few miles to there. So, and I needed one thing. I needed a can of peas. Can of peas. Can of peas. Anybody know what that's from? Three Stooges. Can of peas. I think they were stuffing a turkey, I think, in that one. You take the whole can of peas. Can of peas. Anyhow, got to be older to remember. They don't even play the Three Stooges anymore because it's way not politically correct, I would assume. I don't know. Who else is here? Chase Kelly made it in. Orion, hi, how are you? Glad to see you, fellas. Matt Meyer, good evening. I just picked up the Arsenal Sam 594. And it's probably one of my favorite rifles so far, besides my SA93. I just love the AK. I just love the AK rabbit hole and want to build my own soon. That's great, man. And I suggest if you like the AK platform and you want to build a rifle, there'll be a lot of guys. You're probably, if you're getting into it and you're going down the rabbit hole and you're on AK files and stuff, you'll see a lot of guys that will tell people just getting into it, well, if you're only going to build one rifle, don't bother. Have someone build it for you. Or if you only got one kit and you want to put it together, don't bother. Have someone else do it. Sometimes it's not about the money, right? I think the AK is a great way to, if you're mechanically inclined, if gunsmithing interests you in the least bit, if you're a tinker or history or whatever, I don't think there's any better learning tool than putting together an AK and learning how to do it properly. I love the guys who, well, I built my AR, my AR, I built it. Yeah, I built it. You didn't build anything. You took a bunch of parts that are the tolerance. Well, let's just assume tolerances are tight, and put it together, slapped it together. Screw that headspace. What's headspace? Stuff like that. Buffer weight. Wait, what do you mean? There's different weights. Yeah. Springs. What do you mean? It won't. You didn't put together an AR. You're not. Let's just say that. And frankly, if you did it the right way and you checked everything and measured everything and did happen to pick the right components from your local Cabela's or whatever, at best you assembled it, right? But you didn't build it. That being said, in AK, while in that's the word I'm looking for. I guess if you just looked at the process, it's not a complicated process, right? It's if you're going to start from scratch, like with a flat, you bend a piece of sheet metal, you do some measuring, and you learn how to install rivets, and how hard could it be? Measuring, bending, a little work with the hammer, and you got a rifle. On the surface, that's what it looks like, but it is more involved. I guess the bare minimum, that's what's there. Maybe a little welding, depending again how you do it. But whether you buy an 80% receiver, 100% receiver, or bend one out of a flat, that in itself, you're going to learn way more than you will from assembling 50 ARs. Not to mention, it's going to hone your skills in a lot of different areas. Your first one may not come out just perfect, but hey, they're just as easy to tear down as they are to build. So you can always pop the rivets out, saw the receiver in half, and start over again, right? But yeah, that being said, the tools are what most people are talking about when they say, well, it's not worth it if you're going to build one. There's a couple good places to get tools. There's AK Builder, and God, I forget his handle now. What the hell is it? He's on AK Files all the time, and he sells his tools over there in the marketplace. And you can get them a few other places too. Even I think AK Builder carries some of them. And to tell you the truth, his name escapes me. I went on AK Files for the first time in over a year, maybe 2 years, just the other day. And not because I don't enjoy it, it's just I haven't had the time. And again, I didn't even get into it. I got to read a little bit on the general forum and then fell asleep. And that. But good spot to go and get tools over there. Depends what you want to do. If you want to bend your own receiver, flats are easy to find, and bending them isn't all that hard. The tools, yeah, when you add it all up, it can get pricey, But, you know, if you get the die and the stuff for bending the receiver, and you go get yourself a Harbor Freight press, and yeah, it might be a bit easier if you had a little better press that might have some, I don't know if I want to say tolerances, but if you put together the Harbor Freight press correctly and evenly measure it and all that, and make sure everything's tight on it, a few adjustments, even a couple hacks out there for it, there's no reason you can't use a Harbor Freight press to do it. Lubrication, all that good stuff, and press yourself out a receiver. I will say, drill press, and you don't want to do a baseline. I have a Harbor Freight press. I also have a Delta press. The problem with the Harbor Freight presses are you never know what your chuck is going to end up being. You get a lot of wobble out of them, and when you're drilling the hole and reaming it for the main pin, for the barrel pin, you can get a lot of walk and wobble, and it can be off. Also, you want to use jobber bits because they're shorter. Regular drill bits are going to be too long, and you're going to end up with more wobble in them. Not to say, again, that you couldn't use a Harbor Freight press. Tons of people have. I know the one I have, I could do it. I try not to because it's got so much play in it. But I've seen some that, for whatever reason, you know, they grab this chuck and that shaft and whatever, and the things have almost zero run out, you know. But it's the run out that kills you on those things. Let's see, buy 100% receiver, you know, well, you can do it that way too, save a few steps. Maybe you buy one that's at least got the rails welded in, so you don't have to weld those in. But it's all great skills to learn, not that complicated. If you take your time, read, watch, and most of all, have the right tools and tools that are up to the job. It's like anything. The old adage of the tools, they mean everything. They mean everything as far as how easy a job's going to be and how well it's going to come out. You know, if you're going to paint a door, use a cheap brush and go get yourself a top of the line Purdy brush and see which one comes out better. Even if you know nothing about painting, the Purdy brush is going to leave you a smoother, nicer job, right? Same thing with tools. A better drill press, a better press, the other tools required. It's going to make it easier and going to make it better. Whether it's just confidence building or whether you don't have to worry about the pitfalls of cheap tools, you'll be happy you spent it. And while maybe it isn't worth doing it for one rifle, can you put a price on the education you get doing it, what you learned, the skills that you now have that you never lose or can't be taken away from you, right? There's a lot of pluses there. You know, how much do you need? You can get a rivet tool. You can get the barrel, the adapter tools to press the barrel and all that good stuff. It's not all that hard. Even to spot weld in the rails. You don't really even, well, you need a spot welder, but as far as measuring it and all, there's ways and tricks to do it with stuff as simple as a drill bit. Lay a drill bit in there and it'll measure it out right there and just tack weld it. And again, those same tool manufacturers make the welding arms for the Harbor Freight spot welder, which does a fabulous job. You know, you practice a little and you'll be welding away in no time. And it's you'll impress yourself. You really will. It's like anything. It takes practice. So maybe your first rivets aren't perfect. I'll tell you this. Take some rivets, take 2 pieces of scrap metal and press a few rivets, or start working with a little ball peen hammer and start a rivet. Learn how to start a rivet by tapping. Once you get that skill down, it's nothing but practice to make a rivet perfect with a ball peen hammer. You can take a bad rivet and dress it out to make it look a whole lot better than it may have at one time. So it's just skills and practice, and you'll be proud of what you did. You'll enjoy what you built. It'll mean a whole lot more to you, and you'll know that what went into it is quality, or at least the best you could put into it. And nothing's set in stone. You could always, you want to change it, or you're not happy with something, great, drill the rivet out and pull it apart and do it again. God, as far as tools, how much? Not including the drill press, just the press and the main AK tools. And I don't know what his prices are. I'm assuming the prices are what they were the last, well, let's say 3 years ago up to maybe 8 years ago, because they didn't change much in there. I don't know if they change now, but I'm going to guesstimate you'll be a solid $1,000 in tools, not including the press, a drill press, and the getting your spot welder put together. And those aren't a lot of money. The drill press may run you more. A little advice on the drill press side of things, if you guys want to build one, you don't need a floor mounted drill press. You can get a benchtop press. The thing you want to pay attention to the most is the run out in it. Can you get one where there's minimal run out? And you could get more press or better quality in a benchtop than the floor press. And then in a lot of cases, guys aren't going to take the time to bolt the floor press down and all that stuff. Make sure you get a good way to clamp everything. That's the biggest thing. Setting everything up is the other thing, and being able to measure properly. But building it develops all those skills, and it takes all those skills that you learn maybe other places, and it brings them all together. So if you're starting it for the first time, man, you're going to have a wealth of knowledge when you're done. The only thing I beg of you is, no matter what anybody tells you, because you'll hear you don't even hear much about building AKs anymore, because the videos aren't out there. There's some, but most have been taken down. There's a lot of people, but there's is tight to the vest. You could get a lot of guys will say, oh yeah, there's plenty of people willing to share their knowledge, and there's just as many willing to knock you down and call you an idiot and a dummy and this and that. And then there's guys that, pipe up and say, hey, you're trying to get people into this, and here you are bashing them, But there's just not a ton out there anymore. I guess it stems from kits now being so expensive. Back when kits were $60, $70, $80, $120. I mean, now what's the cheapest kit? 400, 500, 600, and sky's the limit from there, right? A lot of it has to do with that. The kits are so expensive, and some of them are rarer kits. Nobody wants to go experiment and do this build on a Krinkov kit, right? Something like that. But that being said, there's enough out there like Arms of America and stuff where you can get everything you need, part by part even, So I don't know why you don't see more on it anymore. And they don't even talk about it. I know you can't show it and everything, but they don't even talk about the subject. I have not seen anything on AK building in years. No new videos at all. Even, videos just conversing about the process and what it takes. Nothing that would flag YouTube or anything like that, because you're not showing anything. You're just talking about the outcome, I guess, or maybe what goes into it. You're not teaching, but maybe it'd be worth having some videos out there. That'd be a great video to sit down with Mark Krebs and go through it, like what he would do if he were just getting into it and wanting to build, someone wanting to build their first one. I think he'd have some great advice to share there. I know what some of it is, and we've talked about a video building a rifle for me, actually, and doing it step by step. Now, we couldn't show the video, but we could show you the finished product, and we could talk about the build process, but certainly couldn't show it to you unless I went somewhere else and posted it. But it would certainly be interesting to get his advice and maybe some of the pitfalls. I bet you guys would love to see that video. And I should actually, we were going to do it one day and it just never came to fruition. But maybe we'll look into that if that's something you guys would like to see. But if you want to build it, by all means, don't be discouraged by some of the people out there that'll tell you, oh, don't do it. Hey, I look at it this way. What a great prep item, right? To have everything on hand that if push came to shove, you could do your own, right? How cool is that? Interesting. And then you can build any variant you want, make it completely your own, right? Maybe even experiment around. Another great story would be think about how many innovations have come about for the AK platform. Let's face it, guys. The AK is in every way an antiquated platform. It truly is. It's probably the most antiquated. It's kind of funny. I don't know how to say it. Antiquated modern firearm. I don't know. It really is, from the process to the manufacturing that goes into it, to its abilities, right? Its accuracy, it's everything. There's certainly better platforms and better ways to go about it, to build a better mousetrap, I guess. And no, I'm not saying, ARs are better than AKs or anything like that. But from a manufacturing standpoint, it's, let's say, from a factory standpoint. So you got manufacturing plant 1 and 2. There's more actual gun building, gunsmithing operations that need to be learned and mastered in an AK factory versus our factory, where, yeah, sure, somebody developed it, somebody wrote the program, all of that, but they're pushing a button and Zammo, where in the AK world, things need to be fitted, right? Or hand fitted, as they say, in a lot of ways. Not all of them, I get it, before anybody jumps on me. But you could certainly, I think, teach a manufacturing crew how to build and assemble an AR faster than you could someone doing an AK, I think, as far as, for sure, as far as fit and finish goes. Anyhow, yeah, go for it, man. I'm sorry I got on that tangent there, but SAM 5, cool. Hopefully you watched my SAM 5 videos, which I'm still um, investigating. I think just to touch base on it, I think for sure mine is overgassed. Are they still coming out like that? No. I think the issue was the gas port size, bottom line. But I haven't finished what I want to do, and I have not finished to see if I need to go to Arsenal with it or not. The one gentleman came in live stream here and commented in a video, was nice enough to give me his contact information, say get a hold of him. And just with our move and everything, it's put everything on hold. But that's why you're seeing just these live streams coming out and not the videos. But don't never fear, we're not going away. But I do like that SAM 5. As far as 5.56 guns go, it's from a quality manufacturer. Magazines are available. Great platform. Milled gun, all that good stuff. It's definitely in my top list as far as 223 5.56 rifles go in the AK platform. Love the M90, but and I understand why the 17-inch barrel, because ballistically it's better. Adjustable gas, cool. Just don't know on that one yet. It doesn't. Maybe it was just the Hogue furniture and stuff it came out with. I just didn't care for the look out of the box of it. Not that that can't be all changed up. I'm just saying, that's all. Frankly, the Wasser interests me a lot too. If they made the mags available, I think that's a huge mistake that they didn't make them compatible with other 223 guns in the platform, or a like platform. That sucks, but yeah, the more, I love 7.62 by 39, but let's face it, guys, with what happened with Russian ammunition, that puts a big wrinkle in things for longevity. Not to say that there's not more coming out, there is. And I'm really wanting to see what comes down the pipe from whatchamacallit. Oh God, PSA, yeah, Palmetto, yeah, PSA. My God, couldn't even think of that. And I hope they get that steel case stuff coming out real quick, because knowing them, the way they operate, how inexpensively they bring things to market, I think they're going to knock it out of the park. Do I think it's going to be 160, 170, 180, under 200 a case? No. Do I think it? Well, I don't know if it can be done, but I am keeping my fingers crossed that you could see like $200 a case steel case out of Palmetto State. I don't know if they can do it or not. Before all this inflation, I think they probably could have. It's hard for me to pay $400 a case for 7.62 by 39, or essentially pay an equal amount for 7.62 by 39 as I would for 5.56 ammo. It's just something that's ingrained in me, and it's why, we bought it cheap and stacked it deep. As much as I have, I wish there was more, but I don't know. You always want more. If I had twice what I have, I'd still want twice again. Well, I can shoot all this and keep that. Well, I can do that to my heart's content and never run out. So what's the point? I don't know. I wish I could reload that round better. I cannot. It's not any different than loading any other bottleneck cartridge, but I just can't come up with the right recipe for it. I haven't been happy with it. I don't know. Keep working on it. We'll see. But something I'm doing is just tweaked the wrong way or something. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, but we'll keep working on it. And when I perfect it, you guys will be the first to know. Let's see what else you guys got to say. Yeah, so good luck with the Sam 5. Great rifle. And that SA-93, nice rifle too. You can put that thing together pretty nice, but those bring some decent money too. The point is the pin broke. No modern pistol should ever do that. No, it shouldn't. And I had guys saying, well, you're dry firing it. Well, I dry fire everything. I mean, look at how every trainer in the world recommends dry fire, right? And I get it. Oh, don't dry fire your 22. And half of that's a cry. There are some that you shouldn't, but dry firing should not break a firing pin in half. You know, it wasn't like it was the tip or something. The whole thing, 2 pieces gone. Anyhow. You're right. It shouldn't happen. I wanted one of the 22 LR Barrel Arms of America had. Would be nice, but expensive. Yeah, I saw them over there. And I don't know. The 22s in that stuff don't float my boat. I think I wouldn't mind having a CMMG kit for an AR. That'd be kind of cool, but I don't know. I mean, 22 ain't cheap like it used to be, and oh well, I can train for cheap. Yes and no. I mean, I don't know. Dan, dude, why? I'm curious. Why would you have one? Guys, real quick, down where you there's a little icon with a $sign for chat. That's what supports the channel, keeps things coming to you. So if you think you glean some entertainment or knowledge from this, you can support the channel by going down there and giving any amount you feel like, from a penny to $1 million. You can throw it in there, and it's certainly appreciated, and it goes to support the channel right here. Actually, most recently, from monies received from you and the YouTube account, we bought some new lighting for the channel, and I would have had it out here tonight, but running late getting this going, so you'll see it next week. And a lot better lighting. It'll look a lot better to you guys, and it won't be blinding me and giving me a suntan at the same time. So watch for that coming down the pipe. So yeah, super chat if you like. It would be appreciated, and we love that you guys come here every week and join in and listen to me yap. I don't know. Matt Meyer, where is he? Hold on. I just lost it here. And hey, a super chat from who? Let's see. Martin Co. Hey, Martin, thank you very much, man. We appreciate it as always. We appreciate it way more than you think, because it is hard to keep things going in the YouTube world these days. Used to be there'd be at least a small check every month, and now the last one, 3 months it took just to get to the minimum to get paid. And I'm not bitching. I do this for fun, but at the end of the day, it costs money to bring it out and show what we show. It's supported by you guys. We don't have donors. We don't have companies sending us guns. I suppose they would if I tried, but I think that might cheapen it a bit. And not that I would, but I wouldn't ever want it thought that I would promote something or cover something up or talk better or worse about something than give you my true feelings on it. And I do. People say, well, how come you never bash a gun in a review? It's not true. First of all, I have in other products, but I usually do enough research up front that it works out well. I'll certainly tell you anything that goes wrong, like with the Sam 5. I said I am not an Arsenal fanboy, uh, but I certainly don't hate them either. I got plenty of them. If you looked from the outside, you'd say, oh, he's an Arsenal fanboy. No, I love some of my Arsenals, but that Sam 5 just wasn't right. Now, was my initial impression maybe a bit overblown? Looking back now, probably a little bit. I don't think there's all the damage I initially thought, but we're going to find out as we go. And that's why I don't do it. I'm not to say I would have someone send a rifle on a loan program, whatever. And I've never even done it, so I don't even know how it works. But anytime I've shown something, it's been when that manufacturer is with us, like Krebs being out with us, or Zastava being at their shoot, that type of thing, but yeah, I just would never want it said. I want to bring you guys what I truly feel and what my opinion is. And we got a couple super chats here now, one from Martin and one from Matt Meyer, who I was just going to answer your thing when Martin's flashed and I lost my place here. So give me a second. We'll get to your question. If you guys have a question, I try to answer it first if I can. I was just answering yours anyways, but I appreciate the super chat. He says, love my ZPAP. It used to be when guys would ask me or somebody like Rob Ski or anybody for the most part, what AK should I buy? I'm just getting into it. I want to buy one, or they want to buy one AK. What do I buy? And Rob would always go, Wasser, the mighty Wasser, right? I also said the Wasser, but more often than not, I always said go buy a Yugo gun. And why was my opinion like that? Do I think the Wasser is junk? No. And it's changed a little bit over the years, but let me give it to you real quick here. Some of you guys that are here every week know my opinion on it. Partially, it has to do with I'm partial to the Yugo because it was my first AK. My first AK was Century Arms. Now, Century was the importer back then for Zastava. There was no Zastava USA. It was Century. And Century had factory guns like the NPAP and the OPAP. Earlier than that, there were underfolder NPAPs, OPAP. There was no underfolder that I can remember. But Century also built kit guns from Zastava kits. And they had the M70 AB2, which is, back then, everybody made fun of me. Junk Century monkeys put that piece of crap together and this and that. And I said, guys, I just love this thing. It's built magnificent, this and that. Well, fast forward 15 years, and guess what? Now that M70 AB2 from Century is still considered one of the best guns Century ever put together. Not was a distributor for, but actually built. And yeah, they farmed them out. And you guys have heard this 100 times, but love that gun. I always thought, why do you guys hate underfolders so much? I don't mind them. I shoot them plain, or I do my paracord wrap on them. They're comfortable as all get out. The only drawback to the underfolders are mounting a optic, but even that's gotten better now. But part of it was I always have a soft spot in my heart. I just think that a Yugo M70 underfolder is just one of the best looking guns on the planet, and mine's been so good, and it's smoother. That original one I have, and I've had a lot of that gun. And one time I was going to corner the market on them. I was buying them like they were going to out of 5, 6, 8 at a time, and finally sold them all off. But this one, oh, and one I gave to my dad, but partially it's because they're near and dear to my heart, but they're near and dear to my heart because of just how well they're built. They're tanks. And then the second thing I always got was, well, they're so heavy. Oh, they're heavy ounces as pounds. And I think I said this last week. I always got that crap. And for the little bit of difference, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And all in all, the fit and finish and everything about it was a better gun than the Wasser. The Wasser to me, and mine is a little different than what you'd get out of the box now. Mine's a weird gun. It's not a 1063. It's stamped Wasser 10, but it's not really. It's an early gun. It's got military wood on it. It came with. It was all kinds of wonky. And when you are running a 1.5 millimeter receiver, the heavy barrel, everything's fitting fine, everything nice and smooth and sounds good. Where the Wasser just sounded so tinny and so and the sights were a little off and all this crap. It just so much it's not as nice a gun. I'm sorry if you got a Wasser and you think it's a great gun. It is a great gun. Will it run? Does mine run? Runs fabulous. I just quit shooting it. It didn't make me, I just felt like, And today, I think the ZPAP sort of stands alone in the field. Now, is it a true AK? No, it's a Hugo variant, but it is what it is. There's plenty aftermarket. You can't use that excuse anymore. Yeah, it's a few more ounces. Who cares? But yeah. Oh, and you don't have to listen to it doesn't have a chrome line barrel crap anymore. Guess what? My barrel's not worn. It's not shot out. It's not all rusty. I mean, that was a play for the days of corrosive ammo. And even if you're shooting that stuff, clean it good and oh well, you're good to go. I really don't. The Wasser is a fine rifle and it's gotten better. Fit, finish. They still come with scuffs. They come with crap wood versus even the base wood on the Hugo gun is great. They come with crap wood on the Wasser. They're durable, plenty durable. You'll never wear one out, but the Hugo's more durable. It just is. Period. For the money, which they're about the same money right now, and you don't see Wassers like you did. They're not all over the place. It's a better deal. It stands alone as the best entry level rifle out there. And before these guys, PSAs and KUSA guns, yeah, the guns are great. And for the money, they're good. And you get one with the FN barrel and on and on and on. Great guns. But if you can buy an import, especially from an arsenal or a company that is essentially for all, it's a government entity essentially. I mean, I know it's a private company, but it supplies their military as well as militaries around the world. There's been more M70s used in more conflicts around the world than there ever were Russian rifles. Just so you guys know that. They export them everywhere. Every news report you see from anywhere in the world, there's always an M70 underfolder in there somewhere. Look, watch for it. Why would I want to buy a copy of something when I can buy from probably one of the world's most premier manufacturers of these rifles that's been doing it forever and knows how to do it? And yeah, no, your guns aren't any different than what they're selling the military. They're same gun, just one's select fire and one's not. I think it's really the only way to go. Now, I think it's light years up there. And the support that's out there, the number of guns, parts, everything. I don't see an argument anymore for the Wasser being one of the best. Is it in the running? Sure, it's up there. Frankly, I'd take either, but my preference would certainly be the Hugo. And Matt, I'm glad you got one and you see it. You know it's good. And yeah, you hear things about every rifle. Well, I heard this happened to that and that happened to this. And you don't even worry about it today, guys. They're all good. Which Hungarian gun are we talking about? What is the actual model of that? I don't know. I want to say it's a fixed stock pre-ban AK. I don't know if it's a 63 or what. Not 63. Maybe I want to say it's 60 something, the model number. But basically, I believe it's like an AKM version of it. I'll bring you a video on it. I've had it out of the box once or twice for a quick look. So I'll have to dig in. And frankly, I didn't know much about Hungarian rifles. I did find out that, the pre-ban ones that came in that were the better ones, I guess, were brought in by Kastner. And this is one of those early ones. So I'll bring you a video on it and you'll see. Rabbit, maybe you know what it is. I lost an auction this week on a Hungarian underfolder, new, sold for $23.50. Was it obviously it was new in the box, but not new primary market. I don't think they're bringing any in anymore, are they? Maybe they are. Maybe I just haven't seen them. I don't know. Let's see. Ace Gen 1s are hard to find, not used. Are hard to find, not used, and not too pricey. Yeah, you're right. I wish I would have bought one. Guys, if you want something, buy it before they go away, because they're going away. Everything, when you see something come in, especially if it's an import or it's surplus, just buy it if you want it, because by the time you think about it again, it's gone. And while my Gen 2 is great, something about that Gen 1, man, I just like it. And I wish I would have bought one, but I didn't. So one will come across, you look for something long enough, they fall in your lap. When I'm not looking, they fall in your lap. You just got to be ready to pounce when they do. I had a Daewoo K2 back in the 90s. It was okay. Parts would be a big problem today. I don't know if they would be or not. I mean, there's got to be supplies of them out there. I don't know. Oh, another pre-ban that I haven't even told you about. I was going to do a video on it, and I start messing with it, and I'll give you a little hint. It's an open bolt subgun. Let's just say that. Semi-auto, but open bolt. Fires from an open bolt. And let's just say it's interesting, and I'll bring you a video on it. But I'm messing with it, and I'm like, what the heck is wrong with this thing? It's not, the fire control group was messed up. So I'm like, oh, great. So I start tearing into it, and I got it all apart, and I get down to it, and it's a tiny little spring that I had to order, and I got a spare. In fact, if you look close enough, you could probably see it behind me there, but I'm not going to give away too much of it. I was working on it before the video. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting little thing. But where the hell was this leading me to? I don't know how I got on that. Parts. So yeah, this thing, there's a lot more Gen 1 Aces out there than there ever were of this thing. And I still found parts, no problem. Had them here in 2 days. But yeah, it's cool. No picture. Picture. What's a picture? Rabbit hole. New AKs have been introduced into the market since the SGL. Eventually, the SGL will top out because it's competing with very similar guns. I mean, yeah, okay. You got the Vepers, which look what those are bringing. Those are actually bringing way more than the SGLs, right? I bet I could trade a Veper for an SGL even. Just thinking about it, but I want to get another SGL. That I did some dumb shit, and that was one of them. At some point, we won't be able to buy gas for our old cars. Yeah. Well, now you're hearing all this stuff. Like Toyota said, nope, they're done. No electric cars. They're not. They're going to keep going with the internal combustion engine. So that's interesting. I think a lot of this stuff is blown way out of proportion, and a lot of people are starting to realize that it's just not sustainable. And even the common sense, you'd think people, if you can afford an electric car, I assume you've got some brains because you're making enough money to afford one. But I don't know how they don't put together the fact that every time they plug that plug into that vehicle, that essentially that plug is connected directly to a coal plant or a nuclear plant, you know? Uh, and then I guess once we start seeing these things through an entire life cycle, they'll start seeing what all this lithium is doing and where it's going to go and just how much it is to keep them up and running. Or do you just, well, it's going to cost X amount that we might as well just junk it. It's just the infrastructure is not there. None of it makes sense. It's all, I don't know how they see it, but I don't know. Let's see. So yeah, Rabbit, I don't think we're going to see too much of a problem with parts. I mean, other than small stuff, springs, fire control group stuff, really what's going to wear out, and again, like I said, they're not going to be something that's an everyday go-to rifle. I mean, how many guys are out there going, this is my rifle. This is what I'm taking with me, my shit and get gun, Nobody. Until I came across this, I had never seen one in person. And I've seen a lot of guns and been to a lot of gun shops, and I ain't never seen one. How? I don't know. But yeah, I think we'll still be buying gas for a while. Hopefully I'll be dead by then. Yeah, me too. Everybody, right? But why do we worry so much? I worry about my kids and my grandkids. I want them to be able to grow up like I did, enjoying the things I grew up. Because looking back, it was a pretty damn good way to grow up. I was talking about it on my Facebook just yesterday, and I'll tell you a little bit about that before we say goodnight. But we got a little bit to go here yet. Getting ready to do a review on a factory Beretta 9222 conversion kit. Cool. I like the Beretta 92. I'd like to have one, but it's not one of those things where it floats my boat. I don't know. And I like metal guns, but I don't know. I am learning all about the FAL by F&H. They are a little pricey. Did you happen to see my video, Martin, on the FAL I did a couple years ago? Another pre-banned, very, very special rifle. Go check it out. I don't know, maybe maybe later this summer or something we can do another video on it. But very interesting. The older FN imports definitely are. Get a DS Arms. Yeah, DS makes great guns. A friend of mine had one that DS gave us to go do a review on. It was their Shorty carbine, and really, what a cool rifle. Yeah, very cool. Very, very cool. Ours happens to be a Herstal, F and Herstal import. So it's an early one. And this particular one has what they call a sear cut receiver. So go check it out. And it's mint. It's mint. It's not a go-to gun. I wouldn't want to lug that thing around, but its nickname is the rifle of the free world, right? Is that what they call it? Something of the free world. Or the Israeli versions, the Hebrew hammer. Great gun, great design, everything. Yeah, if you want to buy a shooter like this one that I have, it's not something I want to run a whole ton of rounds through, but a DS Arms is the way to go. It really is. And they've got a ton of versions, and you can get some really neat stuff. Like when they came out with their Hebrew hammer, they were using these mint Israeli kits with the round wood handguards and all. And again, another one I should have bought, but I let slip through my hands. I was actually at DSA 3-4 months ago, and they had a few kits they had come across, Israeli kits that had the wood. A couple of them, depending what you wanted to spend, some had where the kit was fine, but the wood wasn't. And I wanted the one with the wood, and they weren't priced all that bad. They do a jungle carbine, they do all kinds of different versions, heavy barrel, light barrel, whatever you want, they do. And super quality. There's never, ever been an issue with any of their stuff. Just really, really good stuff. And you don't have to worry about shooting it. A build with Fuller would be epic, but getting a kit and then paying for the 2-day build class is a premium cost. Maybe if I win the lottery. I have nothing against Fuller at all. Nothing. I've never met the guy, although I have some firsthand knowledge because a friend of mine, actually, if you go to his channel, Breezy over at El Tenda's channel, he did an interview with Jim Fuller out there at the shop. Talked to him, was there, all of that. He builds great rifles, but are they the be-all, end-all? It's so much better than this and that. Frankly, I don't see it. I just think it's another rifle. Who do I think? I get asked this quite a bit. Who do I think's better, Fuller's or Krebs? Well, as far as the rifle goes and fit and finish, I'll take a Krebs hands down over that. Hands down. Innovation, I got to go to Krebs again. I mean, his safety alone, that's a mainstay of the AK world, right? What would this world be without the Krebs safety? That'd be an interesting video in itself, how he came up with his Krebs safety. And then all the other stuff he's built, done, come up with. I wish I could show you guys some of the prototypes and weird different things he's built that are all just hanging in this prototype rack. And hey, Mark, what's this? What were you trying to accomplish here? And it's amazing, some of the stuff. His 9x39 guns. Go watch my videos on those. Man, oh man. And there's nothing like the finish on his guns. Some guys, they used to make fun of it. You know, guys, usually somebody that didn't want to pay what they were asking for a Krebs rifle. But, oh, so what? He dehorns it and he does that. You don't understand until you pick one up, hold it, and shoot it. You just won't understand. And again, I'm not knocking Fuller's guns. They're great guns. Nothing but good about them. Run fabulously, well put together, nice looking rifle. I just think the Krebs is one more step up. That's all. But a great rifle. The classes are kind of cool. Is he even attend the classes anymore, or is it employees doing it? I don't know. I thought when he got bought out and all that, I thought all that changed. I don't know. I know I've heard people still going. I know they still do the classes, but I don't know if he's hands-on. I don't know. But it would be cool. It's always cool to get with a builder and go. Then there's some other well-known builders out there that I just think are a little wonky. One in particular that I watched put a rifle together with another channel, and he was doing a certain step, and I went, oh my God, what are you doing? You know, Jesus. I don't know. You don't have to win the lottery to do that. How much is the build class? Can't be that much. I'll tell you what, who builds nice guns. And I was nobody to, well, I don't know if no, I don't think Mark called it. No, Mark didn't. He's the one that recommended him. I wanted Mark to build my my Romanian RPK paratrooper. I wanted him to build it, and the only thing he said, yeah, he said, no problem, we can do it. He had to make a jig for something. I think for the bulge receiver for that particular gun or whatever. There was something. I thought it was something for the bulge trunnion he had to build, but he said he'd do it. And then the day went on, and we were talking about other stuff. And then I looked over, and he was deep in thought. And I said, "What? What's up, Mark?" He says, "I'm just thinking about that kick gun." He said, "You know, that thing's pretty rare, and it's a beautiful kit. You know, never fired, just beautiful gun." And he said, "I really don't have a way to finish it." And I said, "Well, what's wrong with your Krebs coat? We'll do that." He said, "No, no." He's like, "You were talking about the bluing," because I was asking him. There's questions on Romanian bluing. You know, is it parkerizing? Is it bluing? Is it blue over park? This, that, because it's a little different than some. And bottom line is, it's blue over park is what they are. But a lot of people question it, how it was done, what it was, this, that. Anyways, it's definitely blue over park, but that's neither here nor there. He thought the gun should be blued the way it was, that we shouldn't do a Krebs coat or anything else, that it deserved to be blued like it was. And frankly, the kit was so nice. I mean, flawless. I could have just put it together like it was, with the Green Mountain barrel and everything. But no matter how careful you are, there's scratches and scrapes that happen when you put a gun together, at least an AK. And me being a hair OCD, I wanted it perfect. And never thought, well, that's how the gun was. It's there. Yeah, but there's still going to be some marks. I just wanted it perfect. I think there were only two parts that we didn't re-park and re-blue, and one was the bipod, and the other was the fire control group, because it was perfect. So we left those, but the rest was done, and the gun is flawless, like showroom, brand new in the box, beautiful. And then they were competitive as anybody. For what I got, it was cheap, and they could do the bluing and the part, and it's absolutely stunning, stunning, stunning. If you haven't seen the videos on it, there's several. There's one where I'm just showing the parts kit. There's others when I got it back and then shooting it. And it's still to this day one of my favorite rifles. It's just so cool. I think if I, like for a rare kit, or you want something just top notch, but not boutique-y, and that's not, I'm not using that in a bad sense. But like, you don't want boutique, you can, like, sort of like Krebs is, where it's that top end stuff with the modern finish and all that. If you want something built like it should be built historically and all that, Two Rivers, and yeah, they do everything. But man, I can't tell you how happy I was with that when I got it back. And they were quick and just awesome to work with them. Can't go wrong there either. The price of AK parts kits kills the build idea, but that's what I said. You can't take it from price only. If it's about price, then yeah, by all means, don't build. But if you really want to know the platform and know what goes into it, know what affects its longevity and how it runs and all, you'll build one. Heat treating, that's everything. And you'll learn all about it. You'll do it. So I think it's worth doing it and buying the tools. I think it's well worth it. They have M90s with wood furniture now too, Rock. I haven't seen one of those. I haven't been on their site in a while. I gotta get something. Well, I don't know what's the stuff in their things now. I don't know. Maybe I'll run down there one day and see what I can do. I still got a contact there. I did order the KNS piston for the SAM 594 due to the overgas issue to be safe. I did read about Arsenal's customer service being terrible. They've been, well, you know, I have the channel, so they reached out to me, but the gentleman was more than nice. I can't even say enough. We had a couple email conversations and one on the phone, and willing to do whatever he could. And he knew I didn't, you know, I didn't hold back on it. I don't know. I don't want to do a KNS on it because I don't think I should have to. I think the gun should run like it should run. And yes, I realize that all AKs are overgassed to some extent, and should be. That's why they're as reliable as they are. But I shouldn't have to do that. Not that it's that big a deal or anything, but the gun should be right. Should be right. It shouldn't, you know, in some cases beat itself up like that, you know. So we'll see. Just haven't had the time. But good. Let me know how that KNS piston turns out. Oh, it will compete. It will complete your set. Are you talking about the Uzi? Was it? Was that you? No, it wasn't you. What will complete your set? Let's see. Where'd he go here? Dan dude. What'd you buy? I didn't see. I'm sure I read it off, but I didn't see it. Maybe someone will tell me which set it completes. SA-85M is the Hungarian gun. No more incandescent light bulbs. Yeah, right. My cousin's an automotive engineer, and he said the auto industry would implode if certain electric car agendas were actually put in place. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that may be part of their plan. Who knows? I'm staying away from I call them conspiracy theories, but in actuality, they're not. It's just I'm sick of arguing with people. So you show them the evidence and they still don't believe it. Oh, you say that's going to happen. When? Yeah. A lot of it already has. And they know it because I talked about it long before it happened. But the green agenda from the automotive standpoint is, in his words, just as realistic as Star Wars. Well, funny you say that. Star Wars might be pretty damn realistic. Did you guys watch those congressional hearings, or did you go over to the Sean Ryan channel and watch his interviews with the whistleblowers? Unbelievable. They're saying, and right on his channel, and they said it to Congress, that we've had these technologies since the 40s or 50s. We've had, they talk about two types of craft, one being an alien UFO and one being a human-built copy, reverse engineer of those UFOs. There's many different kinds. We have biological specimens. We've had them both live and dead, and they come out and say it, that they're holding it all back, and that Northrop Grumman, Boeing, all these companies are involved and working with it, and that it's all deep state black ops projects that are funded through the normal means black ops projects are funded through, but also through running clandestine things like drug running, gun running, even prostitution and some other things, human trafficking. And that they started out as top secret CIA stuff, evolved into black projects. And when these black projects realized the technologies they had, basically went, if we have this, we run the world. So here's what we're going to do, and it's going to work, and nobody's going to say anything, and it's going to be kept under wraps, because if it isn't, we have the technology to take whoever out in the world if we had to. He said it sounds crazy. It sounds like science fiction. It sounds like just unbelievable in what they say. He said, but I promise you all, it's true. I don't know what, there's so much. You got to go over to the Sean Ryan channel and watch it. Do I believe it all? Probably. He said it's hard to reverse engineer the stuff because it basically can't be taken apart. It's not manufactured in ways we manufacture. We put things together. We attach them with fasteners. They don't. There's no fasteners. It's like if a part is cast, let's say a hull of an airplane or whatever, or a hull of a boat. It's made from parts that are riveted together, where this, even let's say something's cast, they say it's cast in some the form or the die is made of an energy field, so the part just forms. It's seamless. Its molecular sequence and where they're laid out is completely even. There's no flaws in it. There's no air pockets, or like if you get a bad casting and it cracks at a certain point because of whatever. Well, every atom and every molecule is exactly in line to perfection because of the way they do it. So it's not taken apart. It's formed as that. And it's has to do with magnetism, the energy that runs it. And the big thing, the big power, and why it's kept a secret is because free energy. It would destroy all these monster companies and governments and everything, because energy would be free. The one guy says there's enough. You can put enough of anything. It's in everything. And they say the equivalent of a coffee mug of material has enough energy into it to boil off the world's oceans. That's how much energy there. Tesla messed with it. He said there's been people that have developed similar but crude things like it. And they've either been what they call black shelved, or in some cases, the people have just been taken out or what have you. But there's several ways to do it. And then they even talk about how things actually run in and travel in different dimensions that my mind can't get around. But for those of you that paid more attention in physics class, I don't know that physics helps, because it throws physics on its ear, but you'll understand more about it. Go watch the Sean Ryan channel, and it'll be entertaining at the least. It really gets your mind going at the most. And God, tunnel systems, not just like the Denver airport, but ones that go hundreds, if not thousands of miles, and are built by contractors. And they're formed with energy, and the walls are almost like glass. But yeah, it's amazing what he goes into. And they've seen all this stuff. It's amazing. So anyhow, there's that. So yeah, maybe it is as realistic as Star Wars. He actually says he was on a craft that traveled interstellar and came back and was displayed there. They walked in, and there were 3 of these craft just sitting there hovering. Pretty interesting. It's an IMI pre-band. Cool. Let's see. Just ran across an Uzi pistol micro inbox with manual. Looks unfired. How much we talking? What's the steel? I bet my steel was better. Mine is not an IMI. Well, damn it. I can't remember. Mine's in the blue and gold box. And I think it's a Type A. Brand new in the box. Never fired. The most it had was the 16-inch barrel put in, taken out, and put back in the box. Everything's brand new. Manuals, box, everything. I showed it in one of my videos, just that, but we'll get you a full video on it. Those Uzi pistols are pretty, and I hear this one I got is worth a chunk of change. A little less now that I put a mag or two through it, but it's essentially new now. I'm the only one that ever put one through it, and they are cool. I like it a lot, and the reason I like it is my dad had one back in the day, let me and my brother shoot it all the time, and then sold it for whatever reason. So I've been looking for one forever, and this one fell in my lap. Last one I saw was 700. Oh, they're more than that. Way more than that. New in the box, even super nice in the box. Crazy money. Yeah, that's how mine came about. Actually, mine came about because somebody being scared of a band, kind of thing. There's a gun broker for 4,200. Yeah, one just sold for 28. 4,200 is just dumb. Yeah, but they're going. That's what they're bringing in that 3G area, and some are selling even higher. Solid blue box. Does it say the big Uzi in gold and the gold plastic handle? It's like a suitcase box, kind of. That's what mine is. It's cool. Love it, love it, love it. Couldn't wait to get it. So what did we talk about tonight? We talked about building AKs. Nobody talks about it anymore. If you search out videos that are, if they're even left on any on here, you'll see a lot of ways that guys have concocted for building them. Oh, I started to tell you, please, whatever you do, headspace it with the proper gauges. Yes, you can use things like the tape trick and stuff, but just buy the gauges, please. Buy them. If anything, they'll come in handy for buying guns down the line. You can always check them with that. But please do that. Spend the money. You won't be sorry. And you can always sell the tools for pretty much what you paid for them if you don't want to continue it. But knowing you have them is kind of cool. And there's plenty of cheap enough Polish parts around and stuff that you can build one and not worry about destroying something expensive. So I don't know. Yeah, the little micro, those are neat. Those are cool. The 45s were cool too. Chuck Norris has, but no select fire, just a solid blue box that says Uzi. Yeah, that's what mine is. But the Uzi is it in gold, right? I think probably. And I have the what's the company that brought them in? I just can't. I've been doing this other sub gun and I've got that stuck in my head and I can't think of it. But it was the original, the most successful importer. They had all the accessories, so I have the matching blue case that says Uzi, and I've got a paperweight from them and a bunch of collectibles and accessories. So it makes a whole nice package. But yeah, nice. The little pistols are cool. I even like the one they had most recently with the arm brace and everything. Love to have one of those. I remember I looked at it at a shop. I almost bought it, and I thought, oh, that's kind of stupid. I mean, and now I wish, oh, it's cool. But I got on an Uzi tangent. Action Arms, yeah, that's what mine is. I'm sorry, guys. I got so much going on. I'm all over the place. But yeah, Action Arms, it's cool. Love it. There's Mrs. Rock. What's she doing? What's she up to? Going to bed. Is it late? What time is it? Let's see. 10:15. Well, Martin Coe and Mr. Meyer, I appreciate the super chats. It means a lot. Appreciate it. Some months that's what brings us over the top, so we get paid, But Appreciate it, certainly. I hope I got your minds thinking a little bit on the build thing. Like to know what you guys think about, is the Z-Pap the number one beginner, not begin that is beginner, but starter gun, or if you're just getting into it, or if you're going to have one, is that the gun to have? I guess that depends. Are you collecting and you want a true example? Well, then maybe an AKM or something along those lines. Maybe then the Wasser is a good way to go, or maybe it should be a Russian gun, right? I don't know. Then we talked about value of guns. Is it going to top out? Is it going to keep going? Will they drop eventually? Because interest in certain platforms is sort of generational, right? For a better way to put it, maybe. Mosin to guns. That's what got me back into and started back into guns. I was always into guns, grew up with them. I was into them from the time I was 8 years old. I watched my dad and all his friends through the pre-ban eras, and just like me, they'd get together at night or they'd meet at somebody's house and they'd be doing and futzing and working and changing and shooting and now I am him. I'm the same thing going on. There's always something new. Somebody said, "Hey, I picked up this. I found this. Come check it out." Or, you go check out a gun show, and there's all that interest. But I don't think that I've ever lost interest in any category of guns. Now, would I go out and pay 4, 5, 10 grand for a certain lever action? Probably not. But that's not to say that everybody then would have either. Everybody gets their niche. My dad loved his single actions. My dad loved his military stuff. Loved his shotguns. And would spend crazy money, but everybody develops that niche. Maybe you're an Uzi guy. Maybe you're an FN guy, right? You could make a hobby in itself. I never thought I'd be into ARs as much as I am, but I think the next purchase is going to be that SOCOM edition. There's not many of them left, and there's still a few out there that I can pick up for what they're worth, $1,200 to $1,500. And I just think it's just a version I want. I think it's cool, and it's a Colt. So I'll probably try and pick one of those up. And it comes with all the proper accessories, the Knight's Armament handguard and the Knight's Armament forward grip and the proper rear sight and all. And it's just the right gun, right? It's what they fought with for the last 20 years, right? Cool thing. So I'll get that. I guess everything. I learn bull. That would be awesome. Be great, right? I like shotguns, all kinds of shotguns, hunting guns, competition shotguns, hunting shotguns, military shotguns, you name it, but everybody's got its niche. And if you want something or something sparks a memory, maybe you do pay up for it. And there's a limit to everything, right? But I don't know that they'll top out. It's just hard to imagine being young now and getting into this. You certainly have to be more selective, right? There's not all this cheap stuff around, and maybe our days were the golden age, more so than the 80s, or 70s. Maybe this was the golden age we just went through, and maybe it is over. But it seems like there's always a golden age of something. So who knows what's the next thing down the pipe, right? What's not collected, what's junk one day is all of a sudden gold the next. And that's been shown to be true so many times. Chinese AKs are just that. I remember back in the late 70s, early 80s when they were junk. Nobody junk. What do you want that Chinese junk for? You couldn't give them away. Prepper crowd, SKSs. Look what SKSs are doing today. Not so. They're cool, but if you're starting out, Would you go lay down $1,000, $1,200 for a Russian SKS? I don't know. I remember when I paid $1,200 for an AK, and I thought, I got to have my head examined. I'm actually paying $1,200 for this particular new AK. I remember when I had a rule, unwritten rule, my rule that said I will never buy an AK over $500, and I could go out all day long and buy all kinds of AKs for $500, no problem, both new and on the secondary market. And there were guns then that I would have, what do I want that for? AKs that now I go, oh my God, I should have bought that, like an SA 95 or whatever. Yeah, who would have thunk, even like Mac 90s, those are now pushing $1,000 or more. Who knew, right? But there's those stories with cars, with anything collectible. But to start out in it right now and to amass even a small collection, I don't know how young folks could afford it. Nuts. I don't know. Maybe the salaries catch up more. We're kind of in that area now where everything's went up and the salaries have not even begun to. They never catch up, but they haven't even begun to catch up. So who knows? I don't know. I've got a 14.5 PW SOCOM. Yep, that's what it is. FN's got one of them too in their collector series. And you can buy the upper by itself in the Colt and the FN. And then there's the lowers. But if you're going to do that, why wouldn't you just buy the whole gun? I don't see the point to that. But then there's some of the Colts that the uppers at least have cage codes on them, but then some part of the run does not have cage codes. So that tells me there was probably some leftover contract guns that they used the uppers for this series, and then they added more. Will the ones with the cage code be worth more? Probably. So I'll make sure it's a cage code gun. But yeah, cool gun. Who knows? Yeah, we talk about this quite a bit. We don't know what the next super collectible gun's going to be, but they all have something in common, and that's usually that you can't get them more. That's why I say grab the imports. Guys, I called the ammo, the Russian ammo thing before it happened, very close before it happened. And yeah, it was a bit of luck, to tell you the truth. But I called it like 2 weeks before when it came out. Everybody says, oh, Rock called it. I don't want to be right on those. I don't want to be right. What was it? 3-4 weeks ago, I was saying we were talking about imports and ZPAPs, and I said they could go away tomorrow, guys. And then you get this, it's an export ban, but some guys are talking like it could be an import ban too, but it may not even happen. Who knows? And you got to keep in mind there's still a bunch in the pipeline. So, you're getting guns right now you're buying that were imported or made or manufactured 3 and 4 years ago. So, not a ton to worry about there yet. I don't know. But, yeah, it's not much. It's not that many left. You got Bulgarian. You've got Romanian, Yugoslavian, Polish, Galil's Israeli. Not all that much out there. And then the U.S. made. But if you're a collector, you may have a U.S. made gun, but you're not collecting that gun. What good is it? It's a copy, right? They're all copies, but they're common block copies. Anyhow, if you're looking for something, you need something, go out and get it before it's too late. My M70 Z-Pap came in today. Can't wait to shoot it this week. Good for you, man. Iowa fishing. What kind of fishing you do? I hear there's some great walleye fishing in Iowa now. Mints or something. I will be fishing this weekend with walleye and a little muskie. And I'd love to bring you guys a video on that. I keep saying, but I don't do it. But maybe we can. I'm listening as my wife and I put up corn out of the garden. 2 wheelbarrows full so far. Good times. Oh, awesome! So are you taking it off the cob and then canning it? That's awesome. It is sweet corn time now, guys, and there's one thing I don't miss it because we have it here too. But the one thing Illinois was always good for was late July, early August sweet corn. And on my road in this farm town, I could buy just about everything from neighbors, whether it was vegetables or like the sweet corn. I could buy lamb, I could buy beef, I could buy pork, I could buy tomatoes, you name it, honey, anything I could get up and down my road pretty much from neighbors. And everybody just sets eggs. I had the eggs, but everyone set stands out by the road, maybe some on display, some in coolers, and just it was honor system, a box, put your money in there, take what you need, or you could trade what you had. And we're going to do the same thing at this house now. With the eggs. We've got 10 chickens. They're doing well. The neighbor's taking care of them for us at their place. Thank God for them. And they're growing. And when we get to the property, we'll move them up there. They should be laying. They're only 4 months old now, so I don't know. But they're big. I mean, they're almost full grown. I think, well, they probably are. I just think they can pack on a little more weight, but can't wait to get those eggs, man. And there's going to be more, a lot more. This property was bought, like our last one was bought to have a racetrack out back on the acreage. And this one's bought to sort of have fun with the land, whether that's raising animals and gardens and for sure hunting and stuff. But we're going to do as much as we can. I don't know about the animals, what we'll do yet, but chickens for sure. If I can talk her into it and she gets adventurous, maybe we'll get a cow or two. Who knows? She just doesn't want to be tied down by a ton. So as much as she loves her horseback riding, we won't have any horses at the house, I don't think. But we got the plan drawings for the house. Everything's solidified as far as floor plan and elevations. It's off at the architect and engineers, being the final drawings and blueprints done up. Mortgage is all done. Waiting on another 2 weeks, and the road will go digging the foundation then, and it's off to the races. So yeah, it's finally getting there. It takes longer than you think, and more planning in certain steps. And once the planning and everything's on paper, certified, all that, and they put that first shovel in the ground, it moves a lot faster. It's getting all this out of the way. And then, of course, my father passing away took some of that time up. But we're getting going. It's going to be great, and I can't wait. And we're going to build it with, mom in mind. If she wants to come stay sometimes for a while or whatever, maybe she wants to stay for good. And certainly with grandkids in mind, I'm going to make it a damn amusement park. They're going to have more outdoor fun than any child has ever had in their life. And I look forward to it. It's going to be great. And of course, we are definitely going to have the Rockford Ordinance get together for sure. So we'll figure all that out and figure out a way that some of you guys can come too. Unfortunately, well, most are longtime listeners and all. It's hard to open things up to just, right? You never know if there's wacko in the crowd or not. But anyhow, it should be fun. I'm looking forward to it. You guys will come along with the ride. Just taking time. That's about it, guys. Any other questions? We were making cream. Oh, I love cream corn to freeze in bags and to put up on the cob. We can green beans and tomatoes. So I was talking to a lady today, and oh, is that you? That might be you. uh, but she does a bunch of canning, and I said I'd love to learn that. She was actually going to put some classes on about how to can. I know it's not complicated. I know there's books out there and all, but one thing to read about it or watch a video. There's a whole nother, when you do it and are actually doing the steps, you learn a lot more. So that's definitely something we're going to get involved in. But even the gardening, we talk about some prepping on here. No hardcore stuff. There's enough channels out there with that stuff, guys digging holes and I'm a guy. My wife's set up this YouTube for me, and I never changed the name. Okay, no problem. I just had a vendor of mine come in today, and they were retiring. Which is unfortunate for me because he's a great guy and I love seeing him every month. And we get along and he's of the same that most people are that come to my channel. And he sprung on me today that he's retiring. And I'm kind of sad about it because I enjoy talking with him. But he brought his replacement which was this lady. And I know him for years and years, so I talk freely however I like, and we laugh and joke and guy things, and so I was on my best behavior, which isn't all that great to begin with, but she pretty quickly it became apparent that she was of like mind, and we had some fun, and she's raised on a farm and talking about canning and all. And she's actually going to be offering some classes at a local place, and I'm going to attend them. But there's a lot to get to it. I've got to get the soil ready. Yeah, it's a working farm right now, but there's farmer growing corn. But to have a garden, mend the soils. I'd rather work with natural stuff than chemicals, of course. So we got to get a compost bin going and, get the soil going and open and till things up and get some things mixed in and get it going. And it takes time. And I am not a master gardener. I've got one season of gardening, of which was interrupted by a hospital stay. And I only got a few things out of it. But I learned what's easy and what is hard and dies off right away if you don't pay a little attention to it. So it's going to be a learning experience, and I would love to tell you I'm going to have this big blazing garden, but I know I'm going to have some failures, and I know I'm going to have some successes, and I know every year it'll get better and better. Definitely going to do nothing but heirloom varieties, and I'd love to get to the point where we're saving our own seeds and all that stuff, and I can't wait. I'm only 36, and it's disheartening to know the new generation has no interest. What did I miss here? Hold on. That's great that people are trying not to let the old ways die. I'm only 36, and it's disheartening to know the new generation has no interest. Yeah. Don't be discouraged. Because I'm, let's see, I got a good solid 20 years plus on you. And I never cared much about, well, I guess I always did, but like gardening, stuff like that. It wasn't my bag at that age, but always interested in prepping or being prepared. I hated the thought of, I don't know how you put it, going down without a fight, let's say, whether it be a natural disaster, a weather thing, a pandemic, war, whatever, a tornado. I hated the thought of going down without a fight, or losing the fight just because I hadn't planned. And while you can't plan for everything, there's so much you can do with so little to certainly at least give you a leg up on the competition. Let's say something bad happens and you have nothing more than a month's worth of food and water put away. Well, that's a big leg up, because while everybody else is just trying to find enough stuff to keep them and their family fed for that first month, you're past that. You're moving ahead, grabbing the other stuff you may need, right? So anything you can do every day is a victory, and everything you can put away, make, plan for, write down, make a list, buy something, whatever that is, little step is one step closer. So don't get discouraged. Don't think that there's no young people interested in it. There's plenty. You're 36. That's great news to me that somebody right here is saying, hey, we care. We care about the old ways. It's funny. I'll sit never thought this way, but my son went to a farm auction one day. They held them in our area at this one place every Tuesday. You could go, and they sold everything from flea market junk to rabbits, turkeys, chickens, ducks, estate sale stuff, a little bit of everything you can buy there, building materials, sometimes old tractors, whatever showed up at this farm auction, right? Every week. And we'd always get our chickens there, rabbits, we got there, all kinds of stuff. But one day my son came home. He says, hey, I went to, it was called Chena Auction. It was in Chena, Illinois. And he comes home, or I got home that day. He says, hey, Dad, I made it over to Chena today. And because we had been talking about, we hadn't been there in a while. And I said, oh, yeah, anything cool? He goes, yeah, look what I got. He holds it up, and it's a big old coal shovel. Now, at the time, he was probably somewhere 16, maybe 15, 16, 14, 17, I don't know, somewhere in there. And I said, you bought a coal shovel? He says, yeah. I said, well, what are you going to do with that? He goes, I don't know, but it's just, look at it. It's an old tool, and it's in good shape, and it's huge, and you can use it for anything. And how he got the idea was he worked at the neighbor's farm down the street, and they'd clean out stalls and stuff with it, muck stalls or shovel grain or whatever. And he saw this shovel come across, and he got it for $1 or something. And I remember thinking, maybe something got through to the kid, And I look at that shovel or other implements hanging up on the wall, and I look at it and I think, man, what, it's something every day you'd walk past a million times and never take notice. But you can do so much with it. But what if you didn't have it? What if you didn't have it? Then what? Something as simple as a hoe, where you could hoe a garden, take care of a garden, right? That could possibly feed you. If you didn't have that tool, what would you do? So don't think it's lost generationally. There's plenty of people interested, whether it's how to bake a loaf. My wife got into bread baking, and I asked her to, because the thought occurred to me one day, how many people, or what percentage of the people in this country today, 2023, if they had the ability to just grab the ingredients, how many could bake a loaf of bread, or even know what went in it, or how to do it, or whatever? What do you think the percentage is of American citizens that, if they had to, could bake a loaf of bread? Any kind of bread. Anybody care to throw an answer in there? I don't know what the actual number is, but I'd be willing to guess that it's less than 5%. I bet I'm pretty darn close. That's scary, is it not? Taking the most basic of ingredients and making something that can sustain you. How many would know how to even remotely purify water? I'll bet there's a ton of people that don't know that boiling will purify water, let alone make a very basic rustic style filter. Um, it's nuts. I think you'd lose a massive amount of the population right off the bat, very early on in a massive level event. It's scary what's going on. People are saying, well, we might go to war with China, we might go to war with Russia. Let me tell you something. You're already at war with China. They don't even report on it. There was a report the other day came out from March that they found out that there's all this code, malware and code written into products we've purchased from China, the military systems. Does it shut it down? Does it attack itself? Does it issues? Nothing. And it's not even being talked about. But there it is today from 5 months ago. How about the police stations, the Chinese police stations they reported on in New York that were, shaking down expatriate Chinese in New York? How do we allow that to go on? They're already here. How about the Chinese military spy they caught with top secret clearance? That was back in March too, and you're just hearing about it now. It's already here. It's already happening, and it's just waiting to go. And that's very, very scary. I have a family member that works for a large utility, and he hasn't been there a long time, but ask him how things are protected, for security wise, or even an EMP or something. He doesn't, I don't know. I don't think it is. He'll learn more as he goes, but yeah, pretty scary. 3 missed meals and there'll be societal collapse. You're spot on. People say, well, it'll be 3 days until this, and then 7 days this will happen. You will have no idea how fast it will fall apart once the trucks stop running and the shelves go bare. I think too many people have this mind's eye picture. There's a book written called Lights Out. If you haven't read it, find it. It used to be you could find it free on the internet. I think somebody grabbed the rights to it and published it, and I heard they were making a movie about it, but it was called Lights Out. I have a version of it that I grabbed off the internet years ago. It's about an EMP attack and how it goes down. And I think too many people have that movie perception of things where, well, okay, there's only so much stuff getting through, and you can only buy so much worth of or so many items at the grocery store, and pan over to the entrance of the grocery store, and there's the police officer standing there with the grocery clerk, and they're letting people in one by one and writing their names down, and they go in and get their 5 items and come out, and the next guy goes, really? Do you think that's what's going to happen? Think about this first and foremost. The cop ain't going to be there, because at that point, he's going to take care of his family, or he's inside it. We're here to report on the looting as he's filling his pockets and his bag in his trunk that he parked out back. And the grocery store clerk, she grabbed as much as she could carry on the way out the last day she worked and went home, and she ain't coming back to work. So that's over with. And people with the plans of, well, first I'll write as many checks as I can and then use my credit cards until they're maxed, and then we'll start with using the gold and silver, and then we'll barter. You won't be able to get your cash because the gas stations will be down. They may or may not accept the cash depending on what it is. Maybe there was an economic collapse, so your cash is no good. If you can't get your debit card to work and it's an economic collapse, what good are your checks, your cash, your cards? First of all, none of it's going to work. None of it's going to run. Well, I'll have gold and silver, and I'll go trade that for some gasoline. How are you going to pump it out of the ground? And what are you going to pay for it with? And maybe they don't want silver. Well, what am I going to do with this? I need to eat. It's not going to be the movie scenario you see. And some of you, oh, he's talking crazy stuff. No, I'm not. I'm not talking about necessarily economic collapse or an attack. It could be a large scale natural disaster. Um, Too many people think, well, I'll just wait it out a few days and the government trucks will show up and the National Guard will be here to help and the Red Cross will be along with them, giving out bags of this and a case of drinking water, and we'll be just fine. We just got to get through these 3 days. What happens when it ain't coming? Too many people think it's coming and it ain't. Look around the world at a lot of countries that have natural disasters, this and that. Who comes? We do. That's about it. And how's that work out? Well, maybe it works for a little bit, and then the warlords take over and everything else, and it's all crap. Yeah. What if there's something big in your backyard, where you're not just worrying about food, you're worrying about other stuff? It's not going to be what people think it is. You need to have what you have, and you need to be able to protect it, not just from two bumbling teenagers with a shotgun. It'll be a fast learning curve, and some will follow the curve, and a lot will fall off immediately. Yeah. Anyhow, let's see here. Yeah, don't worry. There's plenty of young ones out there. I would assume more rurally than in the city. I've changed my mind on cities completely. Let's face it, in any type of larger event, cities are nothing more than death traps. The majority of people won't even get out. And once the food runs out, water runs out, and they decide to leave, it'll be too late. They either will get killed on the way out or won't be able to get out. Whatever. It's one thing if you can learn one thing. When you first think about getting out, maybe we should get out, you should already be gone. And if you're not, it's too late. I don't know. Talk to people that have been in war-torn countries. Talk to someone that was in Yugoslavia when all their problems went down. Things are completely different. And there's so many other places in the world where it's been prevalent for so long, or they've been through it multiple times. Some places they know nothing else but that. But here, good living creates soft people. And I think the American people would be in for a rude awakening. And I'm not saying Americans are weak. I think there's no better country or people that band together when need be. But before the banding together takes place, I think there's going to be a lot of arguing within, let's just say. So I don't know. But yeah, get rid of your movie mindset and start thinking in reality of what'll happen. And like I said, what's worst case scenario? If you're ready for anything, you'll never be ready for anything, but what's the worst case scenario? You're ready and you don't need it, right? That's wonderful. Wonderful. I hope I never need it, but I just don't want to be without. I couldn't forgive myself if I couldn't take care of my family, my kids, my wife. And I'm getting older and it gets harder every day. And I don't see myself as some Don't worry, I'll send them. No, that's, I got about 30 seconds of fight left in me, and on a hand-to-hand basis. But um, you got to be smart. You got to be prepared, and have the tools and the planning. Stupid stuff. Talk to your kids. Talk to whoever about a plan if something did happen and you couldn't raise them on the cell phone. Where would you meet? What would you do? How long would you give them to get there? Where before you said, I don't know if they're coming. And do you have a backup plan for that? When they go out of town, do you ever talk to them about, what if you can't get back from vacation, from whatever? What would we do? How do we do? Where do we meet? Where do I come get you? Whatever. Start thinking about those plans. You should have them just for emergency sake, no matter how far you push the envelope with it. Could be as simple as, well, we've got some emergency cash and I can reach you at this. Or I can get a hold of you in this way if the phones are down or internet's down or whatever. But you got to, if you think about it all the time, you'll X certain things out. Others you'll know you have covered. Some you think, well, I either need to learn more about this or figure out a way that it can be done, that type of thing. And not everybody can run out and buy a bug out location and plant a farm and all this other crap. But none of it's good if you don't have the knowledge either. So knowledge is pretty much free, right? So start assembling some. Think about it. What happens if this goes dead? Oh, I'll just watch a YouTube video. Okay. How many books are really left anymore? How many get thrown out and are lost every day and aren't being reprinted? Think about that. Need stuff in hard copy. Save those old magazines. Buy those old books at garage sales. Put them away in a box. How many do you need? I don't know. When you find something that's interesting, buy the book. Throw it in the box in the garage. Forget about it. Read it first, maybe. But there's a book out there, and when I first saw it, it sounded like one of those TV commercial scams, right? But it's called, what was it called? The Old Ways or something like that. The Old Ways. Anyhow, I just ordered it on a whim. And they sent it to me via computer file. And I called them and I said, this is not what you advertise. You advertise this hardbound book. Oh, well, yeah, but we ship you this for that. If you want that, it's X amount. And if you want this big bound version, it's this. So, well, I don't need the bound version, but here's the extra $10 or whatever it was. Send me the book. And tons of interesting stuff in there, basic stuff. Yeah, neat to have. Hey, an old Army field manual would be great. Were you in Cub Scouts? Do you have an old Cub Scouts handbook? Remember those? There's a ton of stuff in there that might come in handy. But there's tons of people out there, Mitchell. Don't worry about it. They're coming. And you got to make them. You got to get them interested in it. That's what I did with my kids, their friends. I'd share little things, offer to take them camping, shooting, fishing, this, that, the other. I used to do a drill with my son. He'd never know when it was coming. It was summertime. He's sitting around watching TV. It's almost midnight. And I said, ding, 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 ding. You got 1 minute to grab everything you need to survive the night and not be hungry and cold and wet. And you got 1 minute to gather the stuff and meet me at the patio out back. Boom, he takes off, right? Running. And he grabbed what he thought he needed and what I thought I needed. And we set it down out on the patio. I said, what'd you bring? And he had a tent, and he had a fire starter and knife. He had a can of SpaghettiOs, 2 cans of Spam, and I don't know, a bunch of other crap, And I had what I had. And I said, well, we'll talk about the choices tomorrow morning, but meanwhile, let's get the tent set up, this and that. Get the tent set up, and we got a little fire going. and went to sleep and woke up the next morning. It was a little chilly, but we were warm and all. I said, all right, what's for breakfast? He says, I got Spam. I said, great. How are you going to cook it? He had forgotten a pan or something to put it in. So we had a chunk of roast Spam on a stick over the fire. But we cut it up and we ate it, and it was good. And then we talked about everything, but I made it fun for him. He had a blast, and he never forgot about that night. And I got to camp with my son out in the backyard and teach him a little something. But yeah, it was neat. I was actually at his age at that time. I was shocked at how well he had thought things through. It was pretty cool. So get people involved. I say at the end of every one of these live streams, do something to protect the Second Amendment. Take someone shooting, get someone interested, grab someone that normally wouldn't, and offer to take them. But I'm going to add something to that. Teach someone something on how to protect themselves and be prepared. And if you share the knowledge you have, knowledge is worthless if you don't share it. So share it. And or learn something yourself. Learn something new every day that can help you in these situations. And you'll just feel a little more confident, a little more safe in life in general. And it's not some whacked out conspiracy theory. It's just about being able to take care of you and those that are important to you should something bad happen. That's all. That being said, guys, I hope you appreciated the video tonight. Yeah, if people aren't interested in this next generation, then maybe you gotta do a little, you gotta pull them in, you know. Memories from the Balkan War by Selko. Yes, great book. There's two other books too. I'll have the titles for you next week. I think I may have told you last week. I don't remember. I saw where brace ban was deemed illegal. Like we need a court to tell us that. Yeah, no, we don't. We don't need a court to tell us that, but it'll all work out. Anyhow, guys, thanks for coming. Pull somebody into the fold, you know. God knows they do enough to pull people in to get rid of everything we hold dear and love. And we need to do the same. We need to fight back. And I appreciate you taking the time to come listen to just some internet guy yap about whatever. But I hope you pulled something out of it and that you enjoyed yourself and it gave you a little break from the other crap you hear on TV all the time, or at least got you thinking a little bit. So till next week or the next video, we appreciate you. We love you. Thanks for the super chats. We certainly appreciate it. It's the only way the channel survives. So anytime you can do that, we appreciate it. And if you can't, we're just glad you're here having fun with us. So that's about it, guys. Love y'all. We'll see you next week, 8 o'clock Central Time, right here on Rockford Ordnance Channel. Go and check out some of our videos and see what you find. A lot of neat videos out there on just about any type of firearm or shooting thing you could imagine. And if you want to see something special, let us know in the comments, and we'll do our best to bring you a video on it. But until next time, thanks again. And as always, Rockford Ordnance out.